Good afternoon and welcome to the OmniDog and OmniCat comic book review show. Good afternoon to OmniDogs and OmniCats, OmniKittens. I'm forgetting all my taglines here. I'm here with the OmniCat. Kristen, how's it going?
Oh, I'm good. How are you?
I am good. Good. So far, so good. I thought today it would be great if we could just talk about comic books and everybody take a break from everything else that's going on outside my house.
Yep.
And we can just talk about comics and enjoy a little escapism, which is what we need. Oh, and Taylor Brown is here with Bat Sam. He's got a Batman onesie for every day of the week.
Oh,
it's very cute.
That's very cute.
It's going to really crush Taylor when the kid grows up to love Superman.
I hope not.
How long till we get... Oh, I did that 2 weeks ago. I panicked way before anybody else did, Doug.
Yeah, you were a smart one, I guess, because I sure didn't do that.
Right, and hopefully it'll all die down, and just things will get back to some kind of new normal. But yeah, I panicked a couple of weeks ago, and my wife was like, "Are you sure?" And I said, "I think we'd better lay in some supplies here in case some things happen." And she went into the store Thursday night for some bananas, and she came right back out and said, "There's lines till the end of the store in there." And I'm like,
it's like Black Friday out there.
Yeah.
Which is not okay.
No. I did do some panic dog food buying this morning when I realized that we were running out, and that I don't know, I can fend for myself, but I can't get... my dog has skin allergies and has to have special food. So I gotta make sure she has all her food. So I do admit to panic buying dog food.
Yeah, I mean, that's fair. And anyone who can get their dog food on Chewy.com, they're the best. So this is not sponsored. I wish it was.
Oh.
Chewy.com is the absolute best. That's where we get all of our cat food. And
I always get the little moistener, like the beef broth moistener for my dog's food from there. I never even occurred to me to check to see if they have the dog food. Maybe they have it at better prices than PetSmart.
They may, and you can set up like a subscription, because that's what we do, and then you can tell it to ship whenever. So you could say it 8 months out, and then just click it whenever you want, and you get an extra percentage off. So that's where, and we get a lot of like the cat medicine on there, and you can get tons of stuff, and it comes in like a day or two.
Yeah.
Again, not sponsored. we should get a pet food sponsorship on the pet show.
We should, for the dog and cat show.
Yeah.
All we do is talk about our pets and comic books. So let's see. We wanted to... I know the chat's busy talking about what we didn't want to talk about, but that's fine. People are free to talk about whatever you want to talk about, and it's fair. It's out there. It's and the reason it's Lloyd Wong said people are losing their minds. They don't this over the flu. Whole countries haven't shut down because of the flu.
Yeah, it's more deadly than the flu at this point. So
yeah, so it's a little bit different scenario than the regular flu. The mortality rate's higher, and I get it. I know that that's what people are talking about, and we'll talk about whatever you want to talk about. But we're primarily here for escapism. That's what comic books are. A great form of escapism. Unless you're reading, autobiographical comics, then you're not escaping. But I didn't read any autobiographical ones, although I did read one that was based on the woman's real life experience. And if you didn't recommend this to me, I'm pretty sure I wouldn't even have it in my pile.
I was going to say, I have no idea what you even read.
No.
So this will be fun.
Yeah. So
what if I didn't?
Then I'm going to recommend it to you, because this is such a Kristen book that you had to have recommended it to me. I would have not even known to have bought this. It was a beautiful story, and
maybe you need to start with this. Now I'm
okay,
curious.
you want me to start with this?
Yeah.
Castle in the Stars 4 is coming. This is the most important thing. Castle in the Stars 4 is coming in September, which will be here sooner than you know. I haven't read Spinning yet, but I know Kristen has.
It's so good.
Yeah, and I like Tilly Walden a lot. I've read 2 of her books so far, so yeah, I'm happy to read that. Just where you at in Daredevil? I am about halfway through book 2 of Bendis. So that's where I am there. I need to get back on that, and then I've got some crime. I've got a ton of reading I've got to do, and I didn't take this week off at all and watch TV. I wanted to, but real life got in the way. So the first book I'll talk about then. This is not necessarily in order. I loved all 3 books. They were very good in very different ways. But the first one, this seems like a Kristen recommendation, was Waves.
Yes, I loved it.
Okay, I thought you must have. Yeah, it's very short. It's a quick read, but it is a deeply affecting read. It is a woman and her partner have been having troubles trying to conceive a baby, and the woman's wife, we never really get a feeling for what they do for a living, although the central protagonist here does a lot of writing, and she does do, I think it's really interestingly told with I can't tell if it's a metaphor or an analogy of her falling out of a boat and drowning, and then eventually, once the crisis is over, she gets back in the boat. I don't even know if it's a simile. I get those all mixed up, but
I think it'd be a metaphor.
Metaphor? Okay.
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah, I think metaphor is probably the best. The art is simple but very beautiful. I liked it a lot. And it starts out with her getting a positive result that she is in fact pregnant. And here she is with her partner. And I don't want to spoil it for you, but it kind of says on the back of the book that there's unexpected heartbreak. So they've had trouble conceiving, and this one actually is no different, except for the fact that she gets quite pregnant before she loses it, and then it's what happens in the aftermath, how they support each other, the support groups, how they recover from it is really the story of this book. And it's a quick read, but it's very poignant, very charming, very I think it's very gentle with the characters, how it goes about treating them, because it's a significant loss. And of course, she blames herself, and her partner won't let her. But it's a significant loss when something like this happens. And I just realized that the aftermath is told in black and white for a while until the color starts to come back into their lives. I didn't pick up on that when she surfaces out of the drowning sea. And the book goes to black and white, sort of like the reverse of Wizard of Oz. And they go to Greece, and they try to have a not normal time, but they realize they need to go on living their lives and go to a place where they've always been happy. And she discovers she's got a real taste for writing, and that she's going to be a writer. And I thought this book was very affecting, especially because of how short and quick a read it was. I was really touched by this book, and I highly recommend it. It's put out by Archaia, who I never know how to say their name. Boom Studios imprint Archaia. And this was a great recommendation. And I'm glad there's a little Kristen section of my collection. I'm glad I found this there. It was good, and it helped me sort of get my mind off of other things and realize there are other people out there that have issues too, real life issues. It helped me not focus so much on myself.
I think it's definitely good for that. And I love the art. I love the way it went to black and white and came back to color. It's something that's definitely not talked about a lot. It probably should be talked about more. And I've never...
The subject?
The subject matter.
Oh, yeah.
And I've never read a comic book that dove into such a thing. You know, because you don't see much media even tackling it. One, because it's a hard topic to talk about, right?
Yeah.
And it's hard to describe and explain, especially if you've never went through it. I thought it was beautiful. It was really well done, and something that needs to exist for a lot of people. And it's something like, if you've never went through it, you're not gonna know what that's like, but this really helps you at least somewhat understand as much as you can, right?
Yeah.
So it's one of those, I read it, I'm like, oh, I'm so glad this exists.
Right.
Especially for people who really need something like that. But yeah, I'm glad you liked it.
Oh, good to see Kenny Crayley back in the chat. Good to see you, Kenny. Glad to see you're part of this. And D.H. McAdams is saying amen to that, Jess. So I must have said something good. So I don't know what it was, but thank you. I'll accept that. And Freddie, I didn't get a chance to watch any television this week, and I have a feeling that's not going to change next week because real life is just shoving its face in our house. We're going to refinance our house. We're going to take out a home equity loan. My wife's dealing with retirement plans, and it's like March is the most important month for all this stuff all of a sudden. So I doubt I'm going to get to watch too much TV. I will get a lot read, though, because I have like 2 shows on Tuesday I need to do. So I'll get some reading done. Yeah, Taylor, I agree with this. We all need the distraction. We have 2 shows, Crime Corner and Batter Days, that are going on next week. Plus, I have a new show, Ultimate Spider Days with Chad OmniDog. And he's proven to be a good co-host. So I'm going to be doing that on Tuesday. So I have a full boat of shows. Oh yeah, tax time too. I got to do taxes this week.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, I have, what is today? Is today the 14th? Oh,
yep.
My taxes were due tomorrow to the accountant. That's not going to happen. No, mine are pretty simple this year. He'll get them sometime this week. Yeah, I actually have to get that going. Boy, thanks for the reminder, Lloyd Wong. What did you read that I recommended?
Well, something that when we started this idea, you were like, you have to read this. And I was like, all right. So These Savage Shores, I finally read this. This is something, when I was, reading it and I finished it, I'm like, I don't know how I'm going to talk about this because there's so much. I went into it really blind. I had no idea what was going to happen. I didn't know anything about it other than tons of people have praised it. And the art's gorgeous.
Yeah.
So I had no idea. And then I finished it and I was like, wait, how do I talk about this? Because I think it's one of those things. One, you talked about it a lot. I'm sure everyone watching has heard you talk about it. But 2, I kind of like that I went in completely blind and I didn't know much about it. But I will say there are vampires. And I didn't know that at all. So that was fun. So there's vampires. There's some gore. Look at that. And gorgeous art, like I said. It is a period piece, I'll tell you that. And it's unlike anything I've ever read. I think this is something that is good to go in, just knowing that Jess praised it. I thought it was great too. It's a really the trade is very nice. It's just a nice trade from Vault.
Yeah.
These characters are unlike, I think, any other characters I've ever read, right? It was worth the ride, and it is quite a ride. I feel like that's all I'm going to say about it. I don't know if that's a cop-out, but I really enjoyed it, and I think everyone should go into it knowing that it is totally worth your ride, and it's great because it's one and done, and then you finish it and you're like, oh, that was a great story. I'm good.
Yeah, I like that there was regular things going on the surface, but then there was things going on underneath the surface. There were several different plot points and how it tied into the reality of the English trade routes in India back in the, 1600s, 1700s, whenever that got established. I liked how that sort of reality was woven in with the mythology of vampires and the great protectorate of the indigenous people of wherever they were. They never really say India, but that's what I'm assuming. It was sort of a sub. Do they actually come out and say India, or
they say East India on the back of this?
Okay,
so it's at least established there. Yeah, and the art was just completely blew me away.
Yeah.
It was beautiful, and the color work, it was just all great.
Yeah, I think that was my book of the year last year. I loved it so much. I
think you're right. Yeah. It's totally worth it. And if you get this online, you're going to pay like $10 or something for it, so which I did. It's worth your money.
Oh, a book you bought. That is.
Oh, yeah.
That's a big deal.
I buy stuff.
I know, but it takes a lot to get you to buy it.
It's true.
Only the best.
I bought all 3 of these today. So.
Oh, you did?
Yeah. Spoiler.
Joe Chip is saying, Kristen, cool t-shirt.
Oh, Legends of the Hidden Temple. Thank you. It's my 90s. Love it. 90s Nickelodeon. I don't know if you remember that one. You remember that one? I know you watched a lot with your daughter.
Yeah, we did watch a lot of Nickelodeon, but I don't remember that one.
It was a live action show where kids answered history questions and stuff, and then there was a temple that they ran through and probably wouldn't fly these days. If you look up a little clip, you'll know why. But it was fun. It was a good time.
Okay, I remember the only live action show I remember watching was Figure It Out with her.
Oh yeah, Figure It Out. Figure It Out was great.
Yeah. We had a blast watching that show with Summer Sanders.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was it. But gosh, I don't remember even hearing about that show. We were very much Nickelodeon fans in the 90s, late 90s, because she wasn't born till 91. But I don't remember that one.
Maybe if you, I'll send you a clip. You may remember it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to know why it was inappropriate.
Well, I just think back now, I'm like, that was a little inappropriate. There were these temple guards that grabbed the kids if you got to a certain point. I don't know. I think back now and I'm like, that's a little inappropriate. That probably wouldn't happen now, but all right.
Oh. Cullen Bunn, there's a question here of who I am a huge fan of. Cullen Bunn, where do I start? You could read The Sixth Gun. That's really good. That'd be a good thing to start with. And I was going to do a Cullen Bunn read through. Dark Ark is really good. Now I'm blocking. Wait, did he do? No, I think that was Donnie Cates. Just a sec. Let me check something real quick. I'm going to leave the screen empty. So professional.
At least we can hear you.
Yeah, that's why I'm continuing to try and talk. No, he didn't do that book. That was somebody else. He did a book called Wolf Moon, which was really good. It's a one and done kind of werewolf story.
Someone's saying Bone Parish.
Oh yeah, Bone Parish. I loved Bone Parish. That's a good one. That's 3 volumes and it's great. I have them all upstairs because I was gonna do a Cullen Bunn focus, but there's so many that I need to read. He's so prolific that video is like a month or 2 away. There's so much stuff that I haven't read. Harrow County, yeah, Harrow County and Bone Parish are the go-to Bunn books. Says Taylor Brown, and I agree. Harrow County is awesome. And Bone Parish is great too. Harrow County is a great book. And so is Bone Parish. He has a good feel for horror. Okay, so the next book I will talk about that you recommended. And this is the only copy I could find. It's kind of odd. It's a HeroBear and Kid and the Kid. I got it on Amazon and it's autographed with a...
Oh, wow. You got a fancy edition.
I know. I didn't even know that. I couldn't find anything else. And this was the only hardcover. And it came signed with a drawing of HeroBear in it.
Nice.
Yeah. And this was a recommendation from Kristen fairly recently, I think. And it's got, first of all, fabulous art. This guy's Mike Kunkel. He's an animator, has worked for some of the top studios, and this is his, I guess, passion project where a little boy's grandfather passes away, and all he inherits, they move into the grandfather's house, and he has a little sister, and the little sister inherits something, but all he inherits is like a stopwatch that doesn't work, or an old time pocket watch that doesn't work, and this little bear that seems sort of beat up. And he doesn't think much of it until he pops the bear on the nose, and the bear turns into HeroBear, who actually appears to other people too. This is not an imaginary creature. HeroBear is quite real and helps him, the little boy, Tyler, fight the evildoer, which is the X5 robot. You can see by these drawings just what a great illustrator this guy is. He wrote and drew it, and they're really fun, fluid, very it's a little bit of a slower read. There's lots of panels and lots of word balloons, but trust me, it's worth it because it is a blast to read. He starts out at a new school because they had to move. He gets bullied, and HeroBear is just the beginning of many mysteries that he starts to solve. Many mysteries present themselves to him in this house that they move in. His grandfather is an interesting mystery to be solved himself. There is a message left in the bear for Tyler somehow, and the stopwatch beeps whenever there's a crime being committed, and HeroBear and the kid are needed. And it's usually X5, this robot with a big wind-up key in the back, and he is controlled by sort of a toy master type creator that has dealt with HeroBear in the past. Whenever we see the toy master on the page. And so it's the various adventures that the kid goes through. HeroBear's involved a lot of the times, but a lot of the times it's the kid discovering what it really means to be a hero, and it's very philosophical and it's very touching, and it's I don't want to say it's about the meaning of life, but it's about the meaning of what it means to be a hero, hanging on to your childhood, rediscovering your childhood, having fun with all the innocent things that made childhood fun. And some people say that this has a touch of Calvin and Hobbes to it, which it does, except that HeroBear is very real. And there's a big reveal, which I had no idea it was going to come to. There's a secret door that Tyler discovers in the mansion that they inherited from his grandfather, and I won't say anything more about it. The reveal is great. I had no idea that was going to happen. It was really surprising. I mean, it was a great twist that I had no idea was coming. So I'm not going to show any more of it or reveal it to you, except that it is very heartwarming, very charming. It hits all the right notes, and I can see why you liked it so much. It was just a fun, heartwarming book that had a lot of charm, and you could tell the creator was really invested in it, and that it made a lot of points about childhood and the innocence of childhood and the meaning of being a hero without beating you over the head with it.
I totally agree. The surprise also surprised me. And I thought it was great too. And I was like, oh, am I the only one who didn't see this coming? So, hey, I wasn't. That's great to hear.
I never saw it coming. I mean,
I didn't see it coming at all.
That was a great surprise. I didn't even, I mean, that was way out of the blue.
This is one of those books that I read it and it felt immediately like a classic. You know, it's like, oh, this is something that like people are going to give to people throughout their lives, you know? Like, I feel like that's a great book to give a kid and be like, here you go. And adults, because, you know, like you said, the talking about childhood and things that we think about when you get older, you know, I thought it was great all ages book for like everyone.
Yeah, and D.H. McAdams is saying, heartwarming and charming. I need that. Well, you need to read HeroBear and the Kid, then I think you'd really dig it. It was a great recommendation from Kristen that I very much enjoyed. And I think that now it hasn't come, I don't think anything new has been written for quite a while. So I'm looking forward. Part of me wants it to sort of end right there, but the other part of me wants it to keep going. See, copyright 2003, so it's been a while since there's been anything new going on in this. So I think he's taken enough of a break. He must be really busy as an animator.
Joe Comics mentioned that he backed the Kickstarter. After I read it, someone mentioned the Kickstarter, so I failed. Like, it's gone. But it's going to be a like nice oversized hardcover. And Joe Comics, do you know if he added to it? Because I feel like I heard he was adding like to the end of the story within maybe the Kickstarter. I could be wrong.
So
maybe he knows.
HeroBear Kickstarter?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, I missed out on it. So that's sad. I think you could still get the book though, but it's quite expensive. So that's why I didn't do it. But
so they're reprinting it. It's a Kickstarter to reprint it then?
Yeah, make it an oversized hardcover. I don't know if there's more material. So, Joe Comics, if you're still there, maybe you know and you can tell us. But hey, speaking of great recommendations and some book that we've already talked about, guys. I mean, I hadn't yet read Castle in the Stars, but if anyone watches your show, they already know all about this book. I feel like so there are 3. Okay, and there are only 3, and they're well priced. The list is $20, guys. Pick these up. They're really nice hardcovers, and they are from First Second. I think Jess mentioned what the next one comes out in September.
Yeah, they seem to come out every September.
So I bought all of these, and then the other day, my cat Buffy graced me with, can you see that? Just eating up the ends of them. Just chewing them all up. I think the red one got the worst of it, so that's real cute. I mean, what's happening? Is she a dog? I think she's a dog. So
cats did that.
My dog cat does. But anyway, this one's fine. We'll look at this one. It's the first one anyway. If you guys don't remember, but again, I feel like everyone's heard you talk about this. This first book is called The Space Race of 1869. So it's basically a reimagining of, what if the space race did happen in 1869 instead of 1969? It's a very steampunky world. What could I call it that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. So, there's like hot air balloons and crazy mechanical steampunky things, and I loved that. It really like pulls you in with all kinds of stuff that like you don't see pretty much ever like in comic books. At least I was like, this is a whole other world that like I've never seen depicted, and it was beautiful. The art is gorgeous. I think everyone knows that, but it really is. In these books, like there's some dense moments like these.
Yeah.
But it still kind of flies by. That's what I immediately noticed. There aren't many pages in any of these. I think this one's like 40 something, almost 50. And that's about how, much each of them are. But they're big, like nice hardcovers.
Mm-hmm.
Thin little hardcovers. And I enjoyed every single one. They eventually go to the moon in the second one. I guess I'm spoiling that, but it's in the title.
Yeah, it's in the title.
It's in the title, so it's fine. They go to the moon. I mean, this the whole gang and group of people that come together. Like the main character, he's a boy. I really couldn't figure out how old Hans was. Can we talk about that? Like, he drinks beer throughout the whole thing, but he looks like a child. So I'm very confused by that.
Yeah.
Like, I could not figure it out because he was
so how quirky little. He is, though.
Yeah. He was really the best. Like, so there's, you got the quirky, like, Hans character, the main child. He's like, just a great, like, hero of everyone. There's an awesome girl, Sophie. She's in it. There's a king, and there's adventure, and they have to go through a whole lot, and they're good at it. And it's great. I loved it. And this art again. So if you guys haven't checked it out yet, and the third one's about Mars. So they just go to all the planets, guys. And it's so beautiful. Look at that. It's gorgeous.
It really is gorgeous art.
So I'm looking forward to it. I am now on the, yearly bandwagon where one of these comes out a year. And then you read 50 pages and you're like, oh man.
I gotta wait another year.
Yeah, I gotta wait another year. So if you like adventure and you like spacey things and steampunky things, this is total joy of a read.
Oh, I'm so happy to hear you say that.
Again, speaking of things that'll just get you out of what's happening in anyone's life, these are the way to go. Get these. And they are very well priced hardcovers because they're nice, big, oversized, and it'll make you feel good because you'll zoom through them too. And you'll be like, yeah, I'm getting stuff done. I'm reading things.
Yeah. Oh, here's a compliment from River. Let's make sure we show compliments. Love y'all's show. Y'all two make a great show. Thank you, River.
Oh, thank you.
Appreciate that a lot. Castle in the Stars was recommended to me, like, what year was 2020, 1918? I think 2017 is when I first started reading it. And I immediately fell in love with it. And so they're out in France. I think all 4 are already done, and then it takes a while to translate them into English, and that's why it's one a year.
Were there only be 4? Is that the end?
I actually don't know the answer to that. That's a good question.
I feel like this could keep going and going and going, especially because they come out in like such short books.
Yeah. This could go on for a long time because they're just kids and they're only just exploring Mars. There's a lot of other planets. So
yeah, exactly.
I thought they'd stop at the moon, but now the king is invested in Mars, and there's all kinds of palace intrigue, and it's very exciting. And these kids are really capable and courageous. I really like how they're written.
They're smart, and like there's some people who hate kids in comics, but these kids aren't annoying. You like them. They're super likable. They each have their own distinct personalities, and they each have a great, part of their team.
Right.
They work together really well.
Yeah, they do. Let's see. Joe Chip says, as far as I know, Castle in the Stars will continue after Volume 4. Okay. That's great. Gabriel D. In Castle in the Stars, when they go to a planet, the author is using a representation of the place from the 19th century view, which is pretty cool. I agree with that. That is cool. 5th book coming out in April in France. France. So that means September 2021 we'll get the 5th book.
Something to look forward to, right? We have other books to read. It's fine.
Yeah, I have plenty to keep me busy. The next book was a Fangirls Assemble 50% off book at IST, I guess a couple of weeks ago. And the title and author interested me. And then when it was a 50% off book, I said, well, that definitely sounds like something I want to read. And that's Berserker Unbound.
This is funny because I haven't read that yet.
Oh, you haven't?
No.
Oh,
I only got mine the other day in the mail.
Oh, okay. Well, I don't want to spoil it for you, but it's writers Jeff Lemire and artist is Mike Deodato. I know there's a proper way to pronounce his name. Omar taught it to me, and I'm Deodato or something like that.
That sounds nice.
Deodato. But it's about a Conan type character who's called the Berserker. And I don't. It's kind of a trope. He comes back to find his village has been destroyed, and his wife and daughter are destroyed, killed, and all he knows is war. All he's ever known is war, and these were the two, only things of love and peace that he had in his life. And it's not the most original idea that he gets transported to via a space-time bubble or magic runes or something that he stumbles onto, that he gets transported here into our present day. So while that may not be the most original idea, what Jeff Lemire does with it, I think, is very interesting. How he shows up in our world and how he goes about acclimating himself. He's fortunate. He finds a homeless guy who's set up a camp near the mountain, near the cave in the mountains where he shows up, the Berserker King. And there's an evil wizard who destroyed the Berserker's village, and the evil wizard is after him and on his way to finding him towards this big city where the cave is. And it shows his sort of adventures with the homeless guy. The homeless guy befriends him. It shows he takes the homeless guy to the caves with the markings and tries to find out if the homeless guy knows anything about it. They find, even though they don't speak the same language, they find out things about each other. They develop a friendship that you normally wouldn't think would happen. They have more in common. It turns out they have more in common than you might think. And to say more, I don't want to spoil it because it is a one and done story, which is, I'm sort of glad about that. It did, even though it says one on the cover. I can see how there would be more adventures, but it does take a twist and an interesting turn that Jeff Lemire puts in there. And I really, really enjoyed this book. I was glad it was 50% off on IST. You've seen this before, this sort of Connecticut Yankee and King Arthur's Court, only in reverse. You've seen it before, but Jeff Lemire gives it enough couple of twists in it that I found it really interesting and really good, and I highly recommend it to everybody. It's not a long read. It's just right. It's that size, by Dark Horse, and the art is fantastic by Mike Deodato, and it's a good package. I just love the artist, I love the writer, and the story was great. It was just a blast. I really enjoyed it.
Oh, now I have to read it.
Well, yeah, I thought you did.
Well, I only got it the other day. I did buy it. My order took a while.
Okay.
But yeah, I'll read that soon. Lloyd Wong was saying, Jeff Lemire really needs his own spot on a bookshelf. I have that on my bookshelf.
Oh, you do?
Because I love him so much. So all my special Jeff Lemire stuff has its own place. So I agree. He does need his own bookshelf.
I should do that too, except it would mean moving Essex County from its sacred place. But it would go better next to Underwater Welder, which I haven't read yet. And that is a good idea. That is a very good idea to have a...
It'll look cute, because my Essex County's over there, too.
Yeah.
It looks good next to all the other... Especially the deluxes. Looks really nice.
Yeah.
So I saved my favorite for last.
Oh, okay.
This is also a book that has already been mentioned today.
Oh, yeah?
And I had to shut my mouth and not say anything. But that's Harrow County. It took me a long time, but I finally read Harrow County. I'm glad I waited for these library editions because they are beautiful. I'm sure everyone's already talked about how nice they are, but I got to show you anyway. Again, this is the first volume, so don't spoil stuff. Look at how gross. So nice. I love it. So, I mean, everyone already knows that the art is beautiful. Tyler Crook, right? That's his name?
Yeah.
Just gorgeous art. It is about Harrow County. That's too bloody. I'm not going to show that. Okay. A county called Harrow. And our main character is a rich witch reincarnated, or is she? So that's a thing. It is a wonderful, wonderful horror book. There are so many twists and turns that I didn't see coming. I loved all of the characters for their own reasons, especially all of the creatures that are throughout this. I loved these creatures that are supposed to be evil, but they're really not. Or are they? I mean, that's kind of the constant thing. Are they evil? Is this person evil? Are they, like, the creatures evil? It's a constant, but it's so wonderful. It's so well done. And again, these hardcovers, these library editions, one, they're priced beautifully because it's Dark Horse. Two, there's tons of back matter in here, tons of essays, additional comics from the world. Like, the intros throughout these, throughout 2 to 4, are by Chris Schweitzer, who is really good friends with my friend Kyle. And he's a wonderful cartoonist, and he intros like volume 2 to 4 in a beautiful way. It's so well done. I love it. So if you guys haven't picked up these specific editions, highly recommend it. Again, everyone's already praised this. Cullen Bunn, he's amazing. He does it so well. Again, every beginning where he put in the Harrow County. Oh, I love these spreads.
Aren't those neat?
Oh, they were so cool. So well done. I just waited for the next issue to see how he would do it. I loved it. I loved everything about those. So if you like good horror, you got to pick this up. Yeah,
there's 2 questions about it. One from Lloyd Wong, who says, does that cover feel nice on the face too?
Let's see. You know what? We're not supposed to touch our faces, but it's a book. It'll be fine. Yes, it does. It's very soft. I don't know what it is. Like, it's like a soft, slip jacket, and the cover itself is soft. I don't know why it's so soft, or how they do that. How do they do that? I don't know, but it's great. It's very nice.
Yeah.
Here's some of the back matter.
Oh, well, let me take this off so we can see that. That's cool.
It's tons of sketches. There's some essays back here. Here's some covers. Additional comics from the Tales of Harrow County from different people. Those are really cool. Yeah, there's some essays back here about more going deeper into like the story and elements of the story. I mean, everything you could want in a deluxe edition is here.
I wholeheartedly agree with everything you said. And here's Multiversity saying you should listen to the soundtrack also by Tyler Crook. I think I sent a link to Jess already. I will have to. I'll have to go on YouTube and find that because that sounds really interesting. I vaguely remember that you sent it to me, but this was something that I also read in October. So, are you saying that it was Tyler Crook's playlist, or did he actually write the music?
Either way, that sounds cool.
Yeah, it does sound cool. And here's an important point by Taylor Brown. I love when Harrow County have one artist who does everything, pencils, inks, and colors. It's awesome to have one writer collaborate with one artist. This creates something really special. I agree with that because a lot of times you'll have 4 trades or 5 trades, and in it there was a break and they had to get another artist to do it, and it kind of breaks it up. And I love that there was such a good flow to it with the same artist.
Although there were a few issues where there was a different artist, and you could, it was still a good artist, but I think it was in volume 2 I noticed it.
Oh, okay.
I think. Let me look.
And Multiversity saying he did the music. It's on Bandcamp. Okay, I have that app.
Yeah, there's 2 different people, and then Tyler in this one. Like this first issue is by someone else, but it was still well done. It just wasn't Tyler,
Right.
So it didn't usually you can feel that break. It didn't break up too much. It was still really nice and well done.
Yeah.
And it wasn't so drastic, but that's not him. It's not as good. It's still good, but
yeah, that's true.
But then it goes back to him. So I mean, there was a lot of him. It was mostly him, but there were some breaks that I guess he had to take. Which, and now that I got volume 2 in my hands, I'll show you Chris's intro, what those look like. So he digs deeper into the story elements of Harrow County. That's him, and he's talking about it, and horror, and the different types of horror, and the way Cullen writes it, and specifically what it has to do with this story. And they're usually just 2 pages at the beginning, but he writes and draws them, and they're just so cool. And it really, I think, added something to the reading experience.
Mm-hmm.
So it was really well done.
House of Penance is about the Winchester Mystery House in San Jose. D.H. McAdams. Yeah, you're right. It's a wild book. I really liked it. I toured the Winchester Mystery House back when I was 15, back in the 70s. It's a worthwhile little tour in San Jose. I think. Wait, who was it that wrote that? James Tinian, I think. Unless it was Tomasi. I always get Tinian and Tomasi mixed up.
I think it was Tomasi.
Tomasi? Okay. Yeah, I mean, he takes great I'm blocking on the word I want now. It's a very it's a down-to-earth tale that he takes to different places very supernaturally. I think it's a more simple tale that he tells very extravagantly, and takes and I'm blocking on this word. He takes great not advantage of. He takes Tomasi. Yeah, he takes whatever. It's a great book. It's really fun, and it's really wild. So yeah, I loved House of Penance too. And as you notice, we're not supposed to be touching our faces, but I was telling Taylor Brown yesterday, I touch my face all the time. I've always got some little itch going on, or scratch, or I'm rubbing my beard in contemplation, or I always touch my face. That's going to be the hardest thing for me to get used to.
Yeah, that's what a lot of people are noticing. Now that the people have pointed it out, they're like, wait, I do this all the time.
Yeah. Yeah. Liberties. That's what he takes. He takes great liberties with the story. That just popped into my head. But that doesn't make it any less interesting. So one thing we wanted to talk about was that there's a bit of a crunch now with con season being either canceled or postponed. And we think about it more in personal terms, like, oh man, I really wanted to see so-and-so, or I'm not going to get to go to ECCC this year and see so-and-so. But you made the point earlier today that a lot of independent creators count on these cons for income and for work.
Yeah, and I mean, a lot of these cons are being postponed to certain dates, and the problem with that is, one, they need the income now. They've already planned on the income. Two, some of those dates people can't make now. You know, maybe they have other commitments. Maybe it's con commitments. There's, I know Lexington Comic-Con was just rescheduled for the same weekend that 2 other cons in the Midwest area are happening. So a lot of people are already like, okay, well, I can't go to all 3. So what am I going to do? When they'd planned to, like, maybe an artist planned to be at all 3, you know? So there's problems like that appearing too. A lot of your favorite artists you should look into are doing like ECC online cons, they're calling them. So they're having like sales at their online stores. They're putting up stuff that usually they just bring to cons that they can sell online now. So if you happen to be one of the fortunate ones who still have a job right now and financially can give some money to your favorite artists, like, maybe consider it. Look up, see what people have online. Again, you're going to find a lot of stuff that, like, maybe you couldn't go to that con and they only bring those things to that con. Well, they're up right now in a lot of these shops because they need the income. Yeah. So that's something that I think a lot of us don't realize. You know, those are our favorite creators. Maybe they've done something for Marvel. Maybe it's just your favorite independent book. A lot of these people are freelance. Their income relies on them going and making these appearances. That may not happen now. So it sucks. And if you happen to have the money, you should think about supporting your favorites.
Yeah, so that's a good point to keep in mind. The person that the indie creator, freelancer that you were thinking of going to see at a con, go to their online store, and if you have a little extra dosh, maybe buy something from them. Not only will you get a one-of-a-kind personalized thing, but you'll be helping out your favorite artist and or writer. But they need help, like right now, since they had planned on going to cons, and these cons are getting postponed and or canceled. So,
it's not all about toilet paper, guys. So people's lives are getting ruined from this. So,
yeah, this is very serious. So, are there any questions or anything we can do for the chat? The chat's been very active today. Thank you for everybody's good questions and support. We really appreciate it. Is there anything anybody has that they want to ask OmniCat or OmniDog before we sign off?
If it's where to get toilet paper, I'm sorry, you're out of luck. There's none in my whole town, so...
Yeah, I can't help you there either. So everybody keep calm and read comic books, and try and take a break from the news if you can, and just relax and read your comics. And this is a time when I've been preparing for my whole life. Introverts finally get their time to stay in the house and not talk to people. So this is perfect for me. But we're going to Joe Chip. Okay, I will do that. Challenge accepted. We're going to need more videos from you guys if we're going to be quarantined. Okay, I will definitely keep that in mind. I'm going to be making a couple on Tuesday, and maybe I'll think of an idea I can do on one myself on Sunday tomorrow. But everybody stay safe. Take a deep breath. And when is the next Fangirls Assemble show?
That is tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Eastern on the Omnibus Collectors Network. And you can follow me on Instagram at the Comic Slayer, where you can see my cat who chews up my books and the books I'm reading.
When she's chewing on your Castle in the Stars.
Oh, she picked the wrong one. It was my fault. I left it in sight. And she's like, nummy. She also liked it for different reasons.
Yeah. So everybody, thank you for tuning in. Thanks to those viewers who are watching after this was live. I appreciate it. Please hit the like button. Please subscribe. Feel free to leave a comment. We always respond to comments. And everybody, stay safe out there, and peace and love. Peace and love.